Okay, this is just a redo of some videos that I did earlier. Just got a better tool to do on that. All right, so this is your graphing, okay, and when you're graphing, it's going to be 2 dimensions, okay. So we use like rectangular coordinate system, okay. There's a couple of things. It's not a hard unit. It's just different from what you're normally used to doing. Okay, so you got some vocabulary stuff you got to kind of start with. So basically, you see the graph over here, and the horizontal axis here. Okay, that's going to be your x-axis. Okay, now that's just what we're going to call it now. Really, it's a horizontal axis, okay. And you'll see it called all kinds of stuff. Okay, depending on what you're doing. Okay, but in most math, it'll be, you'll call it the x-axis. Okay, the y-axis here. Okay, that's the vertical. So that's this one. And remember, these axes, they're just really number lines. That's all they really are. Okay, because this would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, if you're looking at it that way. Okay, so they're just number lines, and these are, this is often a grid. Okay, so the y-axis is your vertical. Okay, this right here where they cross, okay, that's what we're going to call the origin. Okay, so this is where the axes cross each other. Okay, and we call that the origin. Okay, give you another name for it here, or not a name, but something, another reference to call it. Okay, now you've got 4 quadrants. This would be quadrant 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. Okay, so you got those quadrants there because this is split up by those axes. And then you have what's called ordered pairs. Okay, every point on this graph here, and just on this one graph, there's an infinite number of points. Okay, but they consist of 2 coordinates. You'll have basically an x coordinate and a y coordinate. Okay, this is basically an address. Okay, so every point on here has one. So like the origin here, the coordinates for the origin are 0, 0. Okay, and you can kind of see that if you think about it as, here's your x-axis. You got 0, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. And then it's the same thing when you get the vertical axis here. You drop the vertical axis through here. Okay, it's still going to be 0 right there for the y coordinate. Then you got 1, 2, 3, and you got -1, -2, -3. So you can kind of see how those number lines, how you kind of arrive at the coordinates being what they are. Okay, so if you took a point, let's say we took this point right here. Okay, I'd go over, if I start at the origin and I go over 3, okay, my x coordinate is 3, and then I'm going to go up 2. So the ordered pair for that point is 3, 2. Okay, and if you had, like, let's say you had this point, you start here at the origin, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is -5, and then you go up 1. So it's going to be -5 and 1 are your coordinates. And let's say you get 1 right here. And so you go over 1. So that's going to be -1. And then you'd go down to -1, -2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you're down here at -6. Okay. And let's do the last one here, the 4th quadrant. Okay, let's do that one right there. All right. So we go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you're looking at your x as being 6, and then we have to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's going to be a negative 8. Okay, so that's how these coordinate points and how the addresses basically the axes kind of work. Okay, you'll be asked to plot coordinates. Okay, and then they'll do it in reverse, where they'll ask you to, hey, what are the coordinates at this point? So you go back and forth between. Just it's like most stuff that you do in mathematics. You learn it one way and then you learn it in reverse. Okay, so for this part here, I say point A has a point -3 and 4. So you go over to -3, and you go up 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and so that's going to be A. B, okay, start at the origin, go over to 2 and go up to 4. So right there, that's going to be B. Let's go C. We go over to 3 and then down to -1. Okay, that point is C. Now D is going to start here. Well, X is 0 at that point, so you don't have to move left or right. Okay, and then we're just going to go down to -3. Okay, and that's going to be B. The other part about this is the coordinates over here in this point, like B, this is 2 and 4. They're both positive. Because you can see that the x's are positive and the y's are positive. Over here, the x is negative and the y is positive. So everything, basically the x's to the right of the y-axis or this vertical axis are going to be positive, and the x's to the left of it are going to be negative. Okay. So if you pick the point, let's say we've got this point here, we'd say it's -3 and -1. Well, you know the points, the x's to the left of the x-axis are going to be negative, and the y's below the x-axis are going to be negative. So these are both negative. And for C over here, remember you've got 3 and -1, and you can kind of see that the x is positive and the y's are negative. So you actually, if you look at a point, you can look at the signs on the coordinates, and you'll know which quadrant it goes in. Okay. Let's open the next. Okay. So the deal with this one is that they're giving you an equation. So this is your equation. Okay. And you'll notice it's got a y and an x in it. Okay. And they give you an ordered pair here. So this is your x coordinate and your y coordinate. Remember, your x coordinate will always be first. Okay. And what you do is you just plug them in there. It says determine which of the ordered pairs are solutions to the equation. So plug in, they're giving us 3 is x and y is 0. So let's use 0 is equal to -3 times 3. Okay. That's going to give us 0 is equal to -9. Well, that don't work. Okay. So this is not a solution. Okay. Let's do the next one here. You got -6 is equal. Remember, I'm putting it into this equation. So I'm just plugging numbers in. Remember when you were doing all that evaluating stuff where you plug numbers in? This way you're basically doing it. Okay. So we'll put in -3, and I'll put 2 in here. So you get -6 is equal to -6. Hey, bingo. Cha-ching, that works. Okay. And then you do the last one there, same thing. Put in 3, -3, -1. 3 is equal to +3. Hey, those work. Okay. And really what this is saying, this is what they call a linear equation right here. Okay. So it's a line. All right. when you plug these coordinates in, they work out like this. That means that point lies on that line. Okay. So these 2 points will be on the line. This point will not be. Okay. So that's what they're saying. They'll say, hey, is this a solution to this equation? Well, the solution is, hey, does this point lie on that line? So you plug it in to find out. So on the next one here, it's the same deal, except they only give you one coordinate. So they're giving you one coordinate. You got to figure out what the other one is. So when you plug that in, they're saying y is equal to 1/3. They're telling you x is 6. So I'm going to plug that in, plus 5. All right, so 1/3 times 6 is going to be 2. Okay, plus 5. So that's going to give me 7. So that's what you got. Okay, now you can pause the video and try to put the numbers in, see what you get, and then come back, restart it, and see what I get. All right, so I'm going to put in -3 for x. So I got y is equal to 1/3 times -3 plus 5. Okay, that's going to give me, well, 1/3 times -3 is going to give me -1. Okay, plus 5. So y is equal to 4. Okay, and the last one here, they give you y, the y coordinate. They want you to figure out what the x coordinate is. So you plug it in, find out. So you get 6 is equal to 1/3 x plus 5. So I'm going to subtract 5. You get 1 is equal to 1/3 x. Okay. Now I'm going to multiply both sides by 3 so I can get rid of that fraction. Remember, just multiply. I'm basically multiplying it by its reciprocal. Okay. And whenever you do that, remember, it just becomes 1. So it's going to be x. And then 3 times 1 is 3, and you got that over 1, which is basically just 3. So you plug it in. There you go. All right. And they'll ask you to do this like over and over. They'll give you one coordinate. You figure out what the other one is. Okay. So you plug it and go with it. Okay. You'll see in this section that things are really come down to like 3 kinds of propositions, basically. Okay. You're going to be given an equation and asked to find something. You'll be given a table and asked to find something, or they'll give you a graph and you read something off the graph to figure out whatever it is that they're asking you. So it's like those 3 things. So they're giving you a table. Okay, and they want you to complete the ordered pairs here. So it's exactly like we just did. It's just a little bit different form here, but we're going to do the same thing. We're going to plug in -4 for x and -6. Okay, you're done. And that's all you do with it. So you put 0 for x. Okay, -2, so you get -2. Okay, and then you turn around and say, oh, okay, well, I'm going to put in -2 for you're going to put in I'll get it together here in just a second. I got my hand in the way, so I keep forgetting what I'm looking at. So I'll do it over here. That'll be a little better. So they're giving you 5 for y, and they want you to figure out what x is. So let's add 2, and we'll get 7 is equal to x. Okay, same thing. You put in 0 for y, and then you solve for x. So let's add 2, and you're going to get 2 is equal to x. And your table's finished. Okay, now remember, each one of these is like this one here. This is like an ordered pair, -4 and -6. Okay, you plot those points, you connect the dots, you'll have a line. Okay, and even though we were doing 4 points there, you only need 2 to make a line. Okay, so here they give you another equation. Okay, remember, a linear equation, that just means it's a line. Okay, and also you know things are linear when the exponent on the variable or variables is 1. Okay, if it's anything else, it's some kind of curve. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just plug in 0 for x. Okay, so that's going to give you 3y is equal to 6. Divide both sides by -3. And you're going to get y is equal to -2. Okay, then turn around, do the same thing. Plug 0 over here in for y. That's going to make that 0. Divide both sides by 2 and get out 3. Okay, and then you put 2 in for y. So you go, basically, when you're plugging in zeros, like the first one we did. Remember, I'm going to plug in 0 for x here. That basically just goes away, and you just divide by -3, and you got it. Okay, and then you turn around and do the same thing. You put 0 in for y, so -3 times 0 is 0. So then you divide both sides by 2 and you have what x is. So I'm going to put in 2 for y. So -3 times 2 is equal to 6. So 2x minus 6 is equal to 6. Add 6. 2x is equal to 12. Divide by 2, divide by 2, you get x is equal to 6, and then you're done. Okay, so nothing to it. It's just, hey, plug numbers in, get numbers out. You just got to know where you're going to plug them in. Okay, so that's that part. Let's open up the next one. I want this HP a lot back. And it is really slow. Okay. So it does this to me every once in a while. I was afraid it was going to do that. So let's see. Open that back up. Okay. And I'm bringing it back up. Every once in a while, kick me off of it. Got that. I'll start my sugar again. So watch the whole button. So like I said, every once in a while, it'll kick me off here, and I'll have to like restart. So, all right. So for this one, this is the same type of deal. Okay. The thing about this, though, that messes up a lot of people is the ones that we did before, they were giving you a coordinate and you plugged it in and then you found out what the other coordinate is. And here you have to pick them. Okay. So, and sometimes people are like, I have to pick them. Yeah, you have to pick them, but it's not a big deal. Okay. Just pick easy ones. Okay. So with this one, unfortunately, we got to start with a fraction. But normally what I'll do is I'll pick numbers like 0, 1, -1, really low numbers that you can plug in and get something out really quick. And there's not a lot of calculation to do. All right. This one has a fraction. Okay. And so you got -1/3 x here that you're looking at. So what you want to do here is when you pick when you're choosing numbers to use for x into the equation here, choose numbers that are divisible by 3, because when you multiply -1/3 times some number that's divisible by 3, it's going to be a lot easier. You're not going to end up with a fraction. And I'll show you what I mean in just a second. All right. When the first one to use is always easy. Just use 0. Okay. When you put 0 in here for x, -1 times 0 is 0. So you just get out 2. So that's pretty easy. So the next one I'm going to use, remember I got -1/3. So what I'm going to use is, let's use 3, okay? And plus 2. So -1/3 times 3 is going to give me -1 plus 2, okay? And that's going to give me 1. All right. If I used 1, then I get, -1/3 times 1 is going to be -1/3. Then I have to add 2 to it, and then I got to get a common denominator. that other stuff, and it's kind of a pain. So I wouldn't do it. All right, just whatever the denominator is. You know, if you've got the coefficient here, whatever that denominator is, just pick numbers that are divisible by it. It'll be a lot easier. Okay, so if you choose like 6, let's put 6 in there. Okay, so when you choose 6, it's like, all right, well, negative 1/3 times 6 is going to be negative 2. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. So that's pretty easy. Okay, but you could use numbers like negative 3. Okay, and that's going to give you negative 1/3 times negative 3 is going to be positive 1. Okay, so you're going to get 1. That's going to end up with 3. Okay. So there you have your table. All right. So the next one here, what you're going to do is it says create a table of ordered pairs for the following linear equation, then plot the points to graph the line. Okay. So with these, what I'm going to do is, and it'll be a little bit easier for you to do it this way, is I'm going to get y by itself. Okay, remember you did literal equations a while back where you had to get, you know, some variable by itself, and you couldn't combine a lot of stuff, so it just kind of piled up over on the other side. All right, and that's pretty much what I'm going to do. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. Okay, that's going to give me y is equal to negative 3x plus 4. Okay, now I'm just going to pick some numbers for x. Okay, you can pick numbers for y, it doesn't matter. You could have left it in the same one, but you know, the problem is sometimes when you pick numbers, you're going to end up with a fraction. And if you look at the plot here, you know, these numbers, the scale is going in like 2s. Okay, the major tick marks are going in 2s, units of 2. So fractions won't be that much fun to do. It's not that you can't do it, it's just longer. All right, so let's put 0 in for x. Well, negative 3 times 0 is just going to be 4. Okay, let's use 1. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3 plus 4 is going to be 1. All right, let's use 2. Negative 3 times 2 is going to give you negative 6. And negative 6 plus 4 is going to give you negative 2. Okay, and if you want to throw in a negative number, you can't. Negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. Okay, and positive 3 plus 4 is going to give you 7. Okay, so it's just a plug and chug kind of deal. Okay, just like we did, you know, on a prior page. All right, and then you can plot these points. But remember, when you're plotting these points, you only need 2. So there's no reason to sit there and plot them all. You know, basically just pick you a couple of them and go. Now I'm going to plot all these just to show you how it works. So let's start off with 0, 4. Well, here's 0. I'm going to go up to 4. There's 1. Okay, 1 and 1. So I'm going to go over here and then up there. That's 1 and 1. 2 and negative 2. Well, let's go over to 2 and down to negative 2. That's a point. Okay. And then you got negative 1 and 7. So if I go over to negative 1 and then go up to 7, okay, my point's about right there. You can kind of see how they make a line right there. They're all pretty much in a straight line. Okay. Not that you can tell when you connect the dots like that, but that's what it is. Okay. So, but you really only need 2. Okay. If you'd have plotted 0, 4 and 1 and 1, then that would be this point and this point. Then you could have connected the dots. You're still going to get the same line. Okay. So that's what you got for 13.1 and 13.2. All right.